All right, hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a long time since I've actually done a video, so I'm going to jump in today with our Alien Worlds by Kerby Rosanes, and I'm going to be working on the single alien page, just something simple, something easy to begin with, just so I can get back into, I guess, making videos and all that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do today is start with the background. So I'm actually going to do an ink background, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's so quick and easy, and I'm really enjoying doing them in Kerby's books because it's just, yeah, quick, easy, nice and smooth. There's no lines, all that sort of stuff. The only problem I find is because the paper is thinner in this book, the paper has warped a little bit with it. That's fine, I don't mind. I actually don't mind a bit of crinkle, so I'm a textural person, so I don't mind that. So what I've gone and done already is I've popped on my colourless masking fluid where on the bits that I don't want the ink to get. So I actually put the masking fluid on, or I apply the masking fluid with one of these brushes. It's just a Montmartre brush, but they're actually the silicone, soft silicone brushes. So this one's just got nice good point on it, and then the flat bit for like the larger areas, and this is my favorite way to apply that masking fluid. So I've put the masking fluid down the side on this page so I can't get any of the ink on that page, and I've gone around, I'll see if you can see, mainly around the outsides, just to make sure that the ink isn't going to go over the edges. I haven't actually colored the entire alien in because I'm not going to be going into those areas. Yeah, so all I do now is put a piece of paper behind the area that I'm working, so it's not going to overlap onto the pages behind. It's just a safeguard, I guess, to make sure that it's not going to go into that spot. So I just pop it behind the page. And there we have it. So yeah, that just basically stops the ink going on to the next pages. So just make sure they're pushed in, and that's basically how I prep my pages to do the ink. So now the way I apply my ink is using these little makeup brushes. You can get a bigger size one if you want to obviously work in a larger area. I haven't had any problems with this smaller one, so I do need to buy a bigger one, but yeah, like I said, this is just the size that I've been using. Got it from a $2 shop for about $2, so cheap as chips. Now the ink that I'm going to be using are the Dewdrop inks, the Memento Dewdrop inks. They look like this. So the colors I'm using today are the Tuxedo Black, Ladybug, which is like a red, Tangelo, which is an orange, and then a darker red, or a Rhubarb, which is called Rhubarb Stalk. So they are the four colors that I'm going to be using in the background. Now, a trick that I have when using these is sometimes I find when the brush is too dry, the ink doesn't go on very nicely. So at the beginning and sometimes throughout, I will just wet my brush, and this is some color coming out from yesterday, and try and squeeze out as much of the water as I can, and then I just get a tissue and blot as well. So it's moist but not dripping wet, because the ink will go through the page, especially since it's I guess a thinner paper now too. I did notice it can go through a little bit more. So yeah, let it dry. So yeah, like I said, it's like a damp, not too wet brush. Now, okay, so what I start with is the darker color. I move to the lighter color, back out to the dark colors. So what you'll see is I'll go in with the black first. I will zoom you in a little bit so you can see a bit better. So if we start up in this corner up here, I'm going to start with my black. So it's kind of like a night sky, I guess. Well, we're in space, so yeah, space, space sky. So I'm coming in, I rub my brush on the ink pad like this, and then I start applying it by rubbing it onto my paper. So I work in circular motions when applying the ink. This ink is different to like your Tim Holtz ink as well. I found it's not water-based. I don't think. I've tried applying water to get little patterns and things, and it just doesn't want to work like that. So yeah. So once I've got some black, I'll go in with my next darkest, again rubbing it on and start blending it through into those other colors. And come in. Sorry if it's shaking the camera a bit. It's hard to keep it still. All right, now coming in with my lighter red, the Ladybug. Mom? Hunter, I'm filming. So yeah, as you're working, same with your pencils, you're kind of just blending out dark to light. And then I'll come in with my lighter colour, which is my orange. I don't want too much orange, it's more just a way to blend out that lighter red. It's just a really nice way to fill the areas quite quickly, I find, and get a nice result at the same time. So yeah, just blending your colors where you see fit, I guess, where you think they will look the best. You can go back over them if you need. Like, I find some bits might look a bit wishy-washy, so I'll come back in with the ink as it's starting to dry and fill in those areas. So if I zoom out again, you'll see it's starting to create like that wash as well. So all right, so I'm going to come back in now with my lighter red, start blending back into a dark. So when you're doing it, you want to be blending it between the light and the dark. So you need to make sure that you're using, I guess, your tones between each gradient. So your sort of light, medium, dark, which will help get a smoother transition between all your colors. Especially if you want a nice smooth gradient. So see how it's got a bit of a line there, so I'll come back in now with my darker red and help smooth that out with that transition. And while that masking fluid is on, I will go in and do my stars with my ink as well. So it makes it, you know, two jobs in one kind of thing. Makes it a lot quicker. So come in, blend that color in. So like I said, all my edges are protected. That ink I will actually wipe off before I pull it off. So these inks I just got from a place in Australia called Officeworks. It's just our local office supplies shop. Nothing special or anything like that. They come in a pack of 4 different colors in them for about 14 bucks, I think. Obviously, if you've got like your Tim Holtz inks or whatever, I'm sure you can use those as well. I haven't actually played with them because they're too hard for me to get access to, as much as I would love to. I'm going to zoom you back in here so you can see this a bit better. So I'm coming back in with that darker red. Now the reason I'm going over the helmet is because I want to make that helmet kind of glassy, see-through-y kind of technique, I guess. Not technique, but yeah. Okay, I will come back in slightly with that black to blend a little bit better. So yeah, work that blend, work that blend. All right, come back in with my cherry red, or the ladybug, I think it's called, sorry. Start blending the darker red out. I can't remember if I've done one of these ink backgrounds on my channel previously. I think I have. That's all right. Coming back in with my orange. Well, may as well show you, since I'm going to do this as a bit of a color along, because I'm absolutely loving this book. It's something completely different from what I'm used to. My husband actually said to me, he saw me working on the other page for the digital book for Kerby, and he said, "What are you doing? That's nothing like your style. Why are you coloring that?" And was actually shocked that I was doing an alien thing, and yeah, kind of just said to him, you know, it's something different. I'm excited. I love all of Kerby's work anyway, so it's not like it would matter too much to me, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's great. My favourite book of Kerby's though is Mythomorphia. That is definitely my favourite of his books. Okay, coming back in with the lighter ladybug. So yeah, like you can see, it's pretty easy to do. Quite fun. Okay, so that's that side done. And I'm going to come back up top here and keep working over this side. Now the black, I did use it for a big double page, so it is drying out a bit. I do have a new one sitting there ready to go, but I just find I have to go over it a couple of times as it starts to feel a bit dry. So how are you finding this new book? Are you a fan, not a fan? I guess it's not going to be everybody's thing because it is quite different, but I actually think it's really cool because it is so different. You can use your different colors, you can get a bit more creative, I guess, with it. You can do whatever you want. So the grass doesn't have to be green, the leaves don't have to be green. Your aliens can be whatever the hell color you want. So when I was looking up reference photos, I found a lot of them showed the aliens as like green or metallic or browns and things like that. So I actually pulled out Sarah Renee Clark's color catalogue. I've just got the digital one from when she first released it, not the cubes, and pulled a color palette, I guess, that I like out of there. So I'm going to be going with that. So I'm going back in with my rhubarb stalk, the darker red. And yeah, my alien's going to be purples and pinks. So I guess, like I said, you can do whatever the hell you want, really, and get away with it, because it is such a creative book, which I'm really excited for. I love bright poppy colours, so I'm excited to be able to do a lot of that in this book. So yeah, I've been away for a while now. I've just had a lot going on this year with work. I do work full-time, I'm a teacher. I also run my own business, an e-commerce business, which takes a lot of my time as well. I'm also a mum of 2 boys who are 11 and 9, and we also do martial arts, which is another one of my passions, and that takes up a lot of time as well between myself and the 2 boys. They also do it as well, so between all of us we are quite busy most days. My son was also doing soccer last year, so that took up a lot of time as well, because he had, training days, and then weekends with soccer game as well, with playing against other teams. So we yeah, this last 12 months has just been crazy busy, and I just found colouring dropped off the wayside, and that meant these videos sort of dropped away as well. And yeah, it was just not much time for anything, to be honest. So it's been good to sit back down and get some colouring done, and time to myself, which is nice. Yeah, just was really keen to start getting back into it again, and feeling a bit inspired again, I guess. I think everyone goes through those drops where you struggle to stay motivated and do all the things that you should be doing. Well, not should be doing, but that you like doing and enjoy doing, because other things get in the way and life gets in the way and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to happen. Everyone's going to go in and out of motivation. I'm really liking how this is turning out. So yeah, if you find there's bits that aren't blending as well, just like an alcohol marker kind of thing, you can come back in and go back over the bits that you need to go back over to blend better. So let's go back out and have a look at how she's looking. There we go, so we've got this bit down here. So yeah, super easy to apply. Once you've got the base work down with your you call it colorless masking fluid, you can pretty much just go in and work your magic, which is really nice. I love masking fluid. It's one of the best things I've ever found on my colouring journey. Especially I even use it with the Neo 2s, just so I'm not having to go back in and fix things up or whatever. So I really enjoy using it for a lot of things, not just inks, but yeah. And this is starting to get dry now. You'll see it start to be a lot harder to work with as it dries out. Same as your markers, I guess, but needs a few more layers to get it opaque enough. Okay, come back in with my dark red. So yeah, like I said, my color palette I chose is from Johanna Basford's color catalog, and I'll put a little screenshot on the screen so you can see the actual reference, I guess, that she's used, and then the color palette itself. Hopefully I can figure out how to do that, because I'm not very good with the technology side of creating videos. I'm pretty newbie at it, so we will see if I can figure that out. But yeah, it's basically purples, the red, black, and some pink, which I'm really excited to be doing. Like I said, I love the bright, dark poppy colors. Not a fan of light sort of stuff, so yeah, I tried to pick one that resonated with me and my style and the sort of colors that I like to work with, and I thought I will have a play around with that one. So really enjoying the colors so far. Alright, come back in with that lighter red. So what I basically will do is let the ink dry somewhat, because I found if I pull off the masking fluid while the ink is wet, it can actually rip the paper. You have to be very careful when removing the masking fluid so you don't rip the paper. I do have a little, I guess, tip and trick, which I'll come back and show you guys. The way that I remove it, that I found to be the best. Another tip is try not to leave your masking fluid on for too long. So I will try and apply it and then remove it within 12 hours. The longer you leave it, the harder it is to actually remove from your page without ripping it. So my tip would be to get it off as soon as you sort of feasibly can. That way you're not going to have as much damage to your page. It will happen still, like there are obviously times when it's it will just happen like that, but this just lessens the chance of that happening. So yeah, if you can get it off sort of sooner the better, that's what I would be doing. Like I've just applied the masking fluid about an hour ago, trying to get the background down before I remove that masking fluid. All right, so what I'm gonna do, what is that? Did I have masking fluid on there? Interesting, just got a little white dot over here. And I don't know what that is. I think I've accidentally got masking fluid on there. Yep. That's funny. Okay, so I'll peel that off. That's hilarious. And see if I can fix it up quickly now. If not, I'll just go over with my pencils. That's right, there's still going to be a little mark there, but that's all right. I'll fix that up with my pencils. Same with this bit here. That's hilarious. Again, I'll fix that up. Okay, so I'm going to take basically probably 10 to 15 to dry that. What I will do though before I remove it, and I'll show you now, is using a tissue just over my finger like this. I will come back over and just wipe the ink on where it's sitting on the masking fluid. Try not to wipe it back onto the bits where the masking fluid isn't though, because it will actually wipe onto your paper. So either try and wipe it in the same direction or away from where the masking fluid is. So you don't want to be wiping it. So for example, I don't want to be wiping it this way because it will wipe it back onto my creature. So I'll either try and keep it on the same way that my masking fluid is sitting, sorry, bumping the camera, or yeah, wiping away because I don't want it going back onto where my alien is and damaging the paper. I've actually got some on there by mistake somehow, must have been on my finger. But anyway, what I'll do is I will take off the paper from behind just so you can get an idea I will pop it back behind when I come back to do the star splatters, but basically that's what it's looking like at the moment. It is still wet. When it dries, it will be a little bit, look a little bit different, but basically that's where we're at. I'm just going to fix that camera up a little bit. That's basically where we're at with it being wet. So in about 10 minutes, I will pop back and we will basically come back in with the ink first, and then we can peel off the masking fluid together. So there was a chunk in here of masking fluid. I will just come back in with my pencils and fix that a little bit up later on. All right, so I'll give it some drying time and I'll pop back in about 10 minutes. Okay, so now that we're dry, I'm going to pop my pages back behind. Now I just wanted to show you, if you are a bit heavy-handed, you can get a bit of like the ghosting coming through. To avoid that, you can actually wait till it dries a little bit, then come in with your next layer. I was rushing a little bit because this is a video, so I did go a bit heavy-handed. But like I said, to make that better, just wait till the layers dry a little bit between going back in and going over your second layer. So if you're finding they're a bit light compared to what you want, or they're not blending as well, wait for them to dry a little bit and then come back in and do your next layer. I don't mind because I'm going to be doing very similar background colors on all of the pages anyway, being space, so I can pretty much hide most of that anyway, so I'm not too fussed. Okay, so I've still got my masking fluid on, and I've now left the background to dry a bit. What I'm going to do now is come in with my Winsor & Newton ink, my white ink, and just give it a splatter for a bit of like stars around there. So all I'm going to do is take my paintbrush and come in. What I do is I wet my brush a little bit first, just to make it hold the ink a little bit more loosely, like a bit more wet, I guess, a wet way, because I don't want it to stick to the brush. I want it to splatter. So basically what I will do is I'll take just a pen or something and tap my paintbrush with the ink against it to make those splatters. So just like this, tap, tap, tap. And because I've still got the masking fluid, it should not go around the edges of that alien. And if I do notice it going on, the alien itself, I will just kind of wipe it away as much as I can. But when I go back in with my Prismas, I can normally fix it up a little bit as well. So over here, just coming through, splatter, splatter, splatter. Just getting those little white star dots on there, rather than coming back in with my white gel pen later. This just saves me some time. So then go back in with another blot. Yeah, so basically just bang, bang, bang around. Now, to get some bigger splatters, I'm actually going to just dip my brush back in and add some bigger dots myself. So sort of just add it in wherever I think that will look good. So yeah, just spacing them around to some bigger dots. And that is basically my background done. So rinse my brush. Okay, what I can do now is go in and actually remove my masking fluid. So what I will do is I will roll my finger, I'll show you on this page first, roll my finger over it until it gets like a bit of a line, rolled line, I guess you could say. And then what I'll do is I'll lift it with my nails, if you can see that, and start pulling in the opposite direction. So if I'm wanting to pull it, I'm actually going to be pulling it like backwards, if that makes sense, rather than pulling it towards me. So I will pull it away from me. I found that's the best way to prevent it from ripping the paper, I guess because it's not lifting it as much as it would be if I was pulling it towards me. So that's just the most effective way that I've found. So as you can see, it starts to get like a bit of a roll, and then I use my fingers to pull. This was a thinner layer on this side because it was just more protector, but the other thing I found is that a thicker layer doesn't tend to rip the page as much as a thinner layer, because I'm not having to roll it as much or pull it as much. Like this side's not a very good example because it is thinner. But yeah, just basically pulling it away from me. And I've just realized I forgot this little spot in here, so I will go back and fix that up quickly. I'm just gonna go in with my black. Silly, silly, silly muffin. Should have checked. Anyway, I knew that was there because I actually did the inking of that. Sorry, not the inking, the stuff. Silly muffin. That's all right. I will show you on a different spot though and give that some time to dry. Okay. Anyway, so so hard not to knob that camera. I need a different stand. But anyway, okay, so I will show you on the alien ship, for example. Okay, so I roll my finger along the edge just to lift, get a bit of a lift in the masking fluid. So as you'll see, it starts to give a bit of a roll. So once I've got that line where it's rolling, let me zoom you in, where it's starting to roll, I then will lift that with my finger and start to pull away. As you can see, it's like a film. So I start to pull it away from my body, which as you can see, it will start to lift off the paper rather than coming this way. I don't want to come this way because it's actually lifting the paper, as you can see there, as I'm pulling, and I'm fighting against that force. When I'm pulling this way, there isn't much force there except for the bit that I'm pulling. So it's less likely to rip the paper, and it's the best way that I've found yet to be able to remove that masking fluid. And you can see the little white inks popping off there. So yeah, as I'm pulling it away from me. Again, once I'm coming up this way, I'm pulling it down rather than pulling it up because it's less resistance. So you basically will just be moving with whichever way you're pulling it down. So it's not always going to be like the same movement, I guess. So any bits that are left, just roll off with my finger. So yeah, as I'm coming up this way, again, roll it till you get a bit of a loop, and then pulling it away. So I'm not pulling this way, which is giving me that resistance. I'm pulling it down, which is less resistance on that paper. Again. Just be careful when you're rolling it because if you can actually rip the paper as well. So just be very gentle. I find when I'm doing it for videos, I tend to rush too, which is probably not the best. Okay, so down here, again, roll it until you get your lift. Now, again, pulling it away from me because I don't want to be pulling it towards me. That will give it too much resistance. So get your lift. It's a bit thinner here, that's why it's breaking. And pulling it away. Now I like to keep it too as a bit of a tip. Keep it as close to the paper as you can rather than lifting your fingers up and pulling at an angle. If you keep it close to the paper, close to the book, my thumb is almost rolling along the book as I'm pulling it. It gives it a little less room to tear as well, because you're not creating that pull on the paper. So again, roll, lift, again, pull it along the paper. And yeah, just go slow, have some patience, and then you'll end up with a beautiful picture that's not ripped. Okay, I'm going to zoom you back out again since I've shown you up close. So we might come down over here this time, give that up a little bit of time to dry. So because I'm pulling up, I want to go away from me. Well, this time I'm pulling towards me because I'm moving up my picture rather than down. So again, pulling it very close along the page, keeping it low and slow. Low and slow, close to your page. Close to your page. And hopefully, if you go nice and slow, excuse my dog barking, I'm not sure what he's barking at. The mailman. What's he barking at? Me. Okay, and we're almost there. Again, this time I'm pulling it at a different angle because of the way I'm pulling it off the paper. So we're on school holidays. Like I said, I'm a teacher, so I've got 2 weeks off. So hopefully get some good colouring in. Now just at the end, will run my finger over the page just to make sure, or my hand, to make sure if I can feel any more that it comes off, because your pencils really won't go on, obviously, colour underneath it. So, and if I find any, I just roll my finger. And there you have it. So let's take out those papers. Okay, so there we have it. That is basically the finished product of our background. So I can come in now with my pencils and do my actual picture. But yeah, nice and easy. Not too hard to do. That's all the bits that have come off from the masking fluid. Yeah. Hopefully that helps some of you guys who like to do a different way rather than just using pencil all the time or Neocolor 2s. Just something a little bit different that's nice and easy to do and gives you a really nice result as well. So if I bring it up a bit closer, you can see it's nice and blended. And yeah, I quite like the ink backgrounds. They're one of my favorite things to do. They're vibrant and bright and yeah, nice and quick and easy. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy. Hopefully it helps. I will start part 2 hopefully this afternoon and get that up soon for you guys as well. So yeah, enjoy. Hope you have a productive week and can't wait to see everyone's Alien Worlds pictures for the book that is being put together. So hopefully keep an eye out for that, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.